Hello! So I ended up being a lying liar when I did all of my last videos. Basically, as soon as I filmed and all of them were posted, I did a complete planner overhaul. So all the videos that I just posted, almost all of them are out of date. The only ones that I'm still using the same way are my pocket planners. I am still using those three if you watch that video. The uses and the layout for those has not changed. But all of my other planners, I did a complete switch around, and actually I am no longer doing any future planning or daily planning or weekly planning in my ringed binders. I'm going to be posting a video soon about my traveler's notebooks and showing how I'm using those, as well as I already have a video about my Erin Condren life planner and how I have that set up. And my life planner is really where most of my planning is being done now. So I wanted to do a video just all the planners, all of my ring binders except for the pockets, to show how I'm using them now. A lot of stuff is the same, some of it's just changed around where it is, but I just wanted to go through. These are the four and I'm using right now. So I have my Urban in Slate, and this was my creativity and inspiration binder. And now it is my book binder. I'm going to do actually a separate video on this one to show how I have everything set up. But this is strictly for reading and keeping track of that. So that's what this one is now. As I said, I'm not going to go through it because I'm going to do a separate video on it later. I have my Tropic that had been my main planner. I've been using a Malden, and then around Christmas I got this Tropic and moved over. And so this is what had been my everyday planner. So open it back up. As you can see, even the tabs and everything have changed, and that's in part because it seemed wrong to have literary themed dividers not in a literary themed Filofax. So those are now over there, and I moved these over. The main thing I'm using this for, I still have all of the information at the front that comes with it for planning. But my main use for this now is to have my goals, which had been in my inspiration and creativity binder, and also my A to Z tabs that I'm using as a filing cabinet for all of my lists. So the first section that I have those goals. If you watched my inspiration, my setups for my Urban or my setup for my Swift when it was in there, I talk about what my goals are and how I'm going to be tracking that. So that section just moved over into here. And then we go straight into my A to Z. So I have an index here where I've written out the alphabet, the letters that the different tabs are, and I just have listed what is behind each one so that if I'm looking for something, I know where to go. So like under A's, I have activities to do at home, a list of things. Just if we're at the house, stuck in the house, like right now we're stuck at home because of snow, and if I'm wanting something to do with the kids, I have a list here. Some other things, my cleanings under C, finances are under the F, so all of my financial pages that have been a separate section in this planner are now just all filed in here. Things to do with the house. Some of these are empty. This is definitely room to grow, and some of them are quite full. I have my password list. I also have my planner collection under P. There's been a lot of changes. I've been selling off a lot of my planners of late. Recipes to try, all the things, to-dos, all the things that have been in my to-dos and my list section when in my initial setup for my personal size planner, my everyday planner, are now underneath these tabs. Still tracking the words that my youngest 18-month-old says. YouTube video ideas. So this is all where I can take in and out a single sheet of paper and keep track of different topics. So I'm liking it a lot so far. I still keep this down at my desk in the kitchen so it's easily referenced, even though I don't keep it out on the desk anymore. I keep it in one of the drawers so I can just pull it out and get to the section that I need. So next I just have some extra to-dos because I use these a lot to keep track of lists. So this is basically just like extra paper for me to use in there. Then some things, the next section is a personal thing, just stuff that I'm keeping track of, and then I want it to be readily available, so that's why, since this one still stays in the kitchen, I want to have that there, and then the same extra papers and a fold-out picture. So that's what's going on now in my formerly everyday main planner, which is now basically just a filing cabinet for important information. So I had all of my home management set up in my A5 Ochre Malden. I have a setup video on that if you want to see how I had it all done. I really liked it. It was working for me. But then once I stopped using the daily docket, I didn't need it to be out as much anymore. And my husband was having a harder time finding my son's information. I have a school section for him. And so I decided to just separate things out because I also had my journal in my home management. And so what I did is since my Malden is one of my favorites, I just took out my journal basically. So this way I have so much room, and so I'm able to keep all of my 2014 week on 2 pages that are my daily journal as well as have my 2015s in here. And I'm probably going to be able to next year put 2016 and still have plenty of room. I also just have all sorts of extra A5 paper, not for any reason other than just storage, just to have it on hand. So my Ochre Malden is now strictly my journal, and I'm liking that a lot, having that. I keep it just in that same drawer that I have my my personal Filofax in now. So it's readily available every night. I just record what's going on for the day. So now my A5 Domino, I got this, it was listed on Amazon for $20, and it was supposed to be the family planner with the family organization inserts. And so you can't get those anymore, and so for $20 it was worth it just for the inserts. Unfortunately it came and it was just a standard A5 Malden, and with the normal week on 2 pages, none of the inserts that I really wanted. And so I contacted Amazon just to let them know. I didn't want to return it, but just wanted to let them know that this was not what was advertised, and they credited me back for my purchase. So I got this A5 Black Domino completely free, which was pretty neat. But this is now my home management binder. So open it up. I've got my stamps, my address labels, some Post-its, a business card. This is ink refills for my Friction multi-ink pen here. And then this, basically I took out the divider that's now for my journal that's here in my Malden now. And I took out one of the other dividers so that I start with the school section. So that way it's the most referenced section of my home management binder, and that way it starts there. So it looks kind of funny to not have tabs for the first bit, but other than posting this video, I don't really show it off to anyone, and we don't really care. So these are just a couple of, I was messing around with a Cricut and made these and wanted somewhere to stick them. So this is, you can see more details about my setup for this in my my A5 Ochre Malden home management binder setup video. But this is the school section, so I have my son's calendar, I have his monthly calendar, his day-to-day, the schedule they rotate, this picture still, and then class directories and their school handbook. So that's all in this one. Next I go into my addresses, and so I have family addresses for my family and my extended family. I have my in-laws and the extended family on my husband's side. Then I have a section for utilities, which are all of our utilities companies, their contact information, and our address and our account numbers with them. And before that, I also have medical, which are all of our doctors, as well as our insurance information, so that this stays in the kitchen on the desk, readily accessible if I need to grab a number or an address. Then I have my list section, so I have clothing sizes, and this is kind of the reason I did it in here instead of adding it to my list section in my, grab it back, in my personal Filofax, where that some things I wanted to grab from elsewhere, and so they were bigger, and I didn't want to have to scan them and then shrink them down. So I ended up having a list section in here as well. And also they're things that generally pertain to the entire family, not just to something I'd be interested in. So clothing sizes for my husband and kids, a travel checklist for packing for a trip for my kids and myself, and a beach or pool packing list. And then I have something I kind of folded down to size for the parks in our area, in our town, and just information about them, whether they have playgrounds or not, if they can be rented out, and so on and so forth. Just something to have handy in there. So my next section was my meal planner. This used to be my second section, but I put it back here where I had to-dos that I never used. And I'm currently doing all my meal planning in my life planner, so this is more just for reference to see some of my favorite meals when we've done it, but I haven't actively used this section in a couple of months now, but it's still there, just for posterity. My final section is my budget section. I have been kind of neglecting it, honestly, of late, because there have been things out of the ordinary with Christmas and traveling, and honestly, I just haven't taken the time, so I really need to get back into that for February, at the end of here in a couple of days, getting all of that recorded. So things are somewhat back to normal again, and I know most people track not abnormal months as well, but I just didn't, and then I use that as an excuse. So I've got plenty of inserts to keep doing that. And then in the back here, I still have my rain checks, coupons, and different things. And then the Kiki K notepad still stuck in the back for anytime I need to make a quick note. So these are all the ringed binders that I'm using at the moment. It's working well for me, the new system. They say planner peace never really comes because you start messing with things, and I've definitely found that to be true. But I'm pretty happy with how things are now. I like having my journal out separate, so it feels like it's just me, and it's my Malden, which I love. I'm liking having the filing and having a light and easily accessible, and I don't really care what happens to it, home management binder. And I'm really liking having a separate book binder. Reading is one of my favorite hobbies, and so this has been a lot of fun to set up and use. So stay tuned. That video probably will be the next one posted, and up close about my book binder and how I have it set up. So thanks for watching. Bye.